Hey everyone, welcome to Marvel-ous Movie Mondays with Kelsey and Dill. A bit of a shorter episode today, only because this is kind of like the pre-show for the main event next week that Kelsey and I are filming tomorrow. But welcome to Marvel-ous Movie Mondays, where we talk about Marvel every single week. I will put a disclaimer: there is an actor strike and a writer strike still going on, so please support your actors, support your writers. This is not promotion. This is just talking about criticism, film discussion. Discussion should continue to go on to show that these actors and artists are important, but we are not promoting Marvel in any way, especially my news that I'm going to get to seems like a promotion. It's not. I'm not paid by anyone to promote anything. I just wanted to put that out at the top. Kelsey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Dill. I'm really excited for next week. It feels like we've kind of taken a hiatus from trivia, and now we're doing like.
Yeah, I was gonna say the last match was the title match. Like we haven't really dipped our toes back in a while. We were just kind of letting it breathe a little bit.
Exactly, and now it feels like we're doing the trivia of all trivia with this free-for-all. So I'm excited to see how this goes. I have no idea who's competing. You have that information, so I'm excited to find that out.
And then the list changes by the minute. I get more names. I get names taken off. So that's what.
Interesting.
I'll preface right now. We're not going to tell you all who's in the free-for-all, because part of the merit of the free-for-all is you guys being surprised by who shows up next and guessing who's left. I will reveal some names, and we'll talk in general about some of the names that could be in the free-for-all, and where we think they would, benefit most being first, last, because I'll explain the rules of free-for-all later, but it's going to be a fun guessing game for both of us.
Yeah. And Dill, it's been a minute since I've been on like the writing side of trivia. So I'm excited to get, be using that part of my brain again, coming up with all these different questions and to be hosting with you and to not be stressing about what I need to know going into it.
Yes, Kelsey, after her second belt match, which she won, she and I both had a discussion. She decided she would step back from question writing in order to make it a little fairer for the competitors, because obviously someone who's writing questions for Marvel in this league is going to have a little bit of a leg up at times. So we were going to even the playing field, and she still beasted her way through that title match. She came up short at the very end, but I mean, that was a title match for the ages, you and Stacey. More on that in a sec. I did want to take a sec, though, to share my news of the week.
Yes, please.
I pull up at McDonald's. I like a sweet and sour sauce. It's good. But when I saw that the sweet and sour sauce is now Loki branded, I said, I have to try it. And it tastes the same. It's not like different. It's just really the sweet and sour sauce as featured in Marvel Studios' Loki, new season streaming soon on Disney+. As everyone knows, the commercials they've been showing have been like these throwback McDonald's commercials for Loki with Sylvia behind the counter. And I literally needed a quick meal right now, and I was like, let me get some nuggies. I need a coffee. Let me get my McCoffee, and I went McCafe or whatever, and I was like, oh, shoot, there's a Loki promotion. We're doing a podcast. That's great. Again, this is not promotion because I'm not supporting the studios while we are striking, but I just thought it was a cool thing to share. So it tastes good, too. It doesn't taste any different than the regular sweet and sour. It's just the label, but.
I wonder if you get, like, a Happy Meal, you get, like, a Loki toy or something.
Maybe. I mean, maybe it's, like, I don't know. It may be closer to when it comes out, because I think it's still a ways away, but I don't know. You talk for
October. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, so free-for-all stuff is going down. I've been watching Schmodown free-for-all because I wasn't super familiar with, the format and everything that went into this. So I've been watching some old Schmodown free-for-alls, and it looks intense.
Yeah. So the basic layout of the free-for-all, and this is the first big announcement of the day, and it's that I don't want to steal the Schmodown's name. That's a sacred thing for me, the Schmodown. I love the Schmodown. So we're not going to call it the free-for-all, Kelsey.
Nice.
We're going to call it the Infinity Gauntlet. That's
right.
Oh,
I love it. I love it.
These competitors will be competing for the Infinity Gauntlet. First off, what is the prize? People are asking. Why does this free-for-all matter? Is it just people doing trivia, or is there, a reward? As we know, watching the Schmodown, the reward was a title shot for the winner. That is true. The winner will get a title shot, meaning they can cash it in at any time. They can go up against Stacey next month, or they can say, let me wait to see who Stacey plays next. If that person beats Stacey, I can take them on immediately after their title match, or maybe I wait even longer. Maybe they cash it in a year from now. The only rule is that they have to cash it in by the next free-for-all next year, assuming we do it again. That is the agreement. So that's a lot of intense pressure, but it's also a cool gift because it's like you get a title shot, but you can also decide when. And we don't know how many more title matches we'll see by this time next year. We could have 3 more. We could have 1 more. We may not even have another title match. And then time's ticking. You got to just cash it in against Stacy. So that's a lot of the strategy. And you don't have to use it yourself. So the big question going around the league now is this Hellfire Club, Zach and Matt teaming up. If Matt wins it, he could give it to Zach. If Zach wins it, he could give it to Zach. If Zach or Matt win it, they could give you the title shot, Kelsey. They could say, Kelsey, I'm giving you this title shot to use against Stacy. This is a weapon that has never been seen in this league, and that's what makes it so exciting. Kelsey, what are your thoughts on that?
So it's truly like housing the Infinity Gauntlet. You can do anything that you want in a snap of your fingers.
Yes. It has to be a title shot. You can't like add 2 people to the mix. You can't say I want to take on JD and Kelsey. Like you can't do that.
Right.
But you get a title shot to give to anyone of your choice, including yourself, and you can go up against whoever the champ is at the time whenever you want. Obviously, we'll let the champ know a week in advance or something.
Yeah.
Or like a month. Like if you're cashing in the title shot, why don't we say you give them at least a month's notice? So if someone wants to immediately cash in against Stacy, we'll do that in October, not September, because it's like right now. But we will let Stacy know in the September matches that she will be challenged in October or something like that. So if you're watching now and you win, that's what we'll go with. And I'll explain it to whoever wins. I'll kind of go through the agreements. But Kelsey, what are your thoughts on that? Is that scary to you?
I mean, that's crazy. If someone like nominates me, for instance, do I have to take it?
No. You might as well, though.
Well, that's good. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to retire, Dill. I'm trying to be in retirement, and these people in this league, they just won't let me retire. JD immediately called me out. I already know that I'm going up against a match with JD sometime, in the near future, maybe. Yeah. And then Matt's in our Discord asking me if I'm gonna be in the free-for-all because he wants me to try to win back my title. I'm like, people, I'm trying to be on vacation right now.
They're almost like your mafia hit crew. You're the boss, and they're like, "Here, boss," and you're like, "I don't want the fish."
Yeah. I mean, when you put it that way, it makes me sound pretty powerful. It makes me seem like my grandmama made you this cannoli kind of thing.
So
we broke bread together.
Here's how the layout of the free-for-all works. For anyone who hasn't watched a Schmodown or wants to know, we're going to do it basically the same way. We'll start with 5 competitors at the table, at the screen. There will be 5 questions asked. We will not give a category. We're going to just ask Marvel questions. It could be from any Marvel movie in the MCU, any Marvel television show in the MCU, meaning Disney Plus. So Daredevil, Jessica Jones, those don't count. And it has to be on Disney Plus for at least a month. So Secret Invasion and Guardians 3 will not be on it for this round. Starting next month, we will have both those films in rotation, but right now we don't. The latest is Quantumania, but you'll get 5 random questions. All 5 could be from Iron Man. All 5 could be from the shows. All 5 could be actor questions. We try to vary it up, but it really is just we have a list of questions. We're going to go down the list, and that's going to add a little element of luck, honestly, because it's going to depend on when you get chosen. The person who's number 1, in order to win the free-for-all, is going to have to outlast all the competitors. Is that 15 competitors? Is that 30 competitors? Is that 50 competitors? We don't know the exact number right now. We will share it on the day of the free-for-all.
Okay.
But the person at number 1 is going to have to go through at least 15 other competitors to get the win. So that's a harder spot to draw. Now, if you're the last person chosen, how everything will work is every round, whoever has the least amount of points after 5 questions will be eliminated. This could be 1 person. This could be 4 people. You cannot eliminate all 5. So if all 5 get the same amount of questions, we will keep asking questions until someone misses or multiple people miss and they'll be out. If there is someone who has, let's say they answer all 5 right, and the other 4 are really good but miss 1 question, if they all have 4 and this person has 5, all 4 of them are eliminated. So it really could be a short event if someone just keeps lucking out and everyone below them gets the same amount of points. Or it could be a long event if every round there's 1 person who's constantly falling off. It really is luck too, because someone could have all 5 questions up their wheelhouse in the first round. Second round comes, they could answer none. If you answer no questions and someone answers a question, you will be out. So it's really going to be a test of not just knowledge, but how well they can manage their, their gameplay as it goes on, and just make sure they don't necessarily have to be first. They just can't be last. So if someone's answering all 5 in their round, but someone's answering none, all you need to do is answer one question right. So it's kind of a little bit of a strategy play there. And then whoever is out, let's say 2 people get eliminated, we'll bring 2 more people on, and we'll keep doing that until there's 1 left. So Kels, how do you feel about that format? Do you think that benefits people who go early or go late? I mean, there's an answer for that, but
so what you're saying, Dill, is that eventually we're gonna be getting to a point where it's like we're not gonna have 5 people at the table. We're gonna have 4, and then 3, and then 2.
I mean, yeah, eventually. So the last round, let's say this is the last 5 people on the table. If 3 of them get 3 right and 2 of them get 2 right, the guys who get 2 right are out. Then we'll ask another 5 questions to the 3, and it'll keep going in the same way that the lowest scorer will be out, and that'll continue on. And let's say there's just 2 people at the end who just keep getting them right. It'll just become a sudden death, and whoever gets one wrong will go home. So that's going to be something we'll like cross that bridge when we get there. But until that round, it's just whoever's the worst in the round. And I don't want to say worst, but whoever scores the least high will be out.
Wow. It sounds like, there's going to be some really intense, but I want to say really healthy competition happening with this. I think that this has the possibility to create some more heels in our league. Things could be really going haywire and going south for some competitors in this league. And we have some very nice people in this league, so I hate to see too many of them turn.
Well,
but again, I don't know who's competing.
The Infinity Gauntlet is going to bring out the rivalries too, because you may have some people who, if number 1 and number 2 are in it for hours, and they're sitting there, and they're like, yo, good job. And then some guy just comes in and takes them both out at once. That could create a rivalry. We've seen that happen in the Schmodown. Kelsey's watching through these free-for-all, so I'm not going to spoil it. But in the first ever Schmodown free-for-all, there was someone who cleared the table. It was amazing. It's one of the best moments ever. And that kind of spurred this like kind of legend for that one person. You can become a legend. And we have a lot of rookies competing in this who are new this year, have played a match or 2, but we also have rookies who have never played at all. And this is going to be their debut. We could have the next Marvel champion come in here, answer. They could be the last one picked, get in here, win it on the last round, answering like 3 questions. They get a title shot. And if they luck out against Stacey, they're a champion. So it really could be as random as that. Or we could have someone who's number 1, outlasting everyone, earning it, getting the title shot, and then losing to Stacey pretty badly. Anything could happen. And I think that's what's kind of exciting about this. You never really know. And you never know. And they don't know until an hour before I'm going to send the list of order. They won't know where they are in the order until the time comes.
So, Dill, how do you determine that order? Do you think it's better to be one of the first people on the table, or do you think it's better to be kind of shuffled in the middle?
I think it's better to be the last one, period, because all you have to do is survive 1 round and the other guys get unlucky, and you have to win 1 round, you win. The only thing is, I guess if you're in the middle, you at least get the taste of what the pressure feels like. So maybe being in the middle will be better. You don't want to be first, though. First, I think, is a curse in this case. And some people in the Schmodown have owned it and been like, I want to show what I got. And that's why, here's another twist. We are going to be giving out an MVP award. And this is going to be for the person who lasts the most rounds or has the most impressive, move or something. So, if someone clears the table, or if someone lasts, let's say the person who's picked number 1 lasts to the very last question but loses, Kelsey and I will talk, and we will pick an MVP who we think was the free-for-all MVP. It could also be the winner. I mean, the winner could end up being the MVP. We will try not to make it the same person, but we are going to give one person a gift. We're not going to give them a title shot because that's a lot, but we are going to give them a number 1 contender match. So whoever the MVP is, we'll have them in a number 1 contender match, meaning whoever is the next number 1 contender will play that person, and then if they win, they will get a title shot. So it's almost like the second best prize you can get, because let's be honest, it's really hard to be the first one to go and then make it all the way. It's just almost impossible. It's never been done in Schmodown. I don't think it's going to be done here, but if the person who's picked in the first round, any of the first rounders, make it all the way to the last round, that's a feat in and of itself, and I think that should be rewarded. So they will have a number one contender match, which they, again, can cash in at any time. So that's like kind of a little consolation prize, but it is a prize nonetheless because, you know, there can only be one winner, but there are going to be people who really impress us, and I'm excited to see it.
Right. So regardless, we're getting through as like everyone is going to get a chance to play. Like there's not an instance where it's like the same 5 people the whole time. Because I guess that would be kind of impossible and incredible if like the first 5 people just kept getting 5 pointers, you know.
The only case scenario would be if 4 of the first 5 make it the whole way through. That can happen. If all 4 of these people don't miss a single question, but then one person keeps falling out each round, you could have a round where the last 5 people are the original 4 and then one other person, but you will not have the same 5 because someone has to be eliminated after each round. It could be 1, it could be 4 people eliminated in each round, but you could have theoretically 4 of the first 5 people in the last round. You could.
Yeah.
Which could be awesome. That'd be awesome. And then how do you pick an MVP? We might have to give them all MVP, you know what I
mean? They all just fight to the death then for the number one contender match, I think.
Yeah. Which then makes it fun for us because, like, we're not going to give you, let's be honest, we're not going to give you softballs. We're not going to tell you who played Iron Man. That's not going to be in this free-for-all. Sure, you may be a rookie and may have never answered a question in this league, but, like, that's not the type of question you're going to be getting. You're not going to be getting the most impossible questions because we want to save those for actual matches, but, you know, we have to have eliminated players each round. So we have to have some questions that are going to separate the best from the good. And that's going to happen. And we'll go over separately, Kels, like the order in which we want to give the questions to make it so it seems a little evenly balanced. But I'm very excited for that aspect of it. Just seeing how they navigate these questions, seeing it's really luck. Who lucks out, who doesn't luck out. And you asked me how I'm going to pick the order. It's going to be random. I'm going to take all the names. That's why
shuffle them in the wheel.
That's why I'm doing it an hour before, because I want to make sure anyone who decides last minute, I want to play, can play. And if we already set the order, that's kind of weird if we're just like, oh, you'll just go last. Because if that's honestly a gift to be like, you'll just go last. So we want to make sure we're going to take all the names and then an hour before I will put it in random.org and it'll give me a random list. I will screenshot that list. I will put it in the chat with all the players, and that'll be the order. And then because you can only have a certain amount of people on StreamYard at a time, I will make an unlisted live YouTube link where people can watch along. And then when it's almost their turn in the order, I will let them click on the link and come in and I'll bring them on. So it may have some behind the scenes things to figure out that I'll edit in post, but it'll be exciting because it'll be, you know, everyone can still watch live, which is going to be fun. They just can't comment live because that would ruin the point. But you all won't see it live. The audience won't see it live, but the other competitors will be watching along, basically, to see their competition. So they can also because then it's like, if you ask for how many movies were released in this year, and then, you know, you're asked another question about movie release dates, you know, it's nice to have known what was asked before. I don't know, which also is an advantage. I think whoever's later in the order is definitely at an advantage, you know. So, but you never know. Some of these competitors are good. Do we want to get into talking about some of the competitors who we might see? And I'll throw it over to you, Kels. Who are you most excited to hopefully see? I'm not going to say confirm or deny any names right now. We're just going to speculate on who might be in the free-for-all and who we might want to see. Because as we know, there are a lot of rookies that we haven't seen at all. But of the players who have played either this year for the first time or have been with us since the beginning, is there anyone that you have your eyes on as that's going to be a threat in the free-for-all?
Well, I have one big question, Dill, and I don't know if I remember the answer to it, and I don't know if you want to reveal it for everyone. But I'm wondering if our current belt holder is playing.
She will not be playing. So the Schmodown rule, there were so many competitors in the Schmodown, the belt was changing so much that the title holder got to play, and if they won, they could basically wait until they lost to cash it back in. The problem is we don't play enough matches per month to where if Stacy were to come in here, let's be honest, she would have a really good shot at winning. And if she did win, by this time next year, she could still be the champ, and then it's kind of a wasted thing. So I talked to Stacy, and she is gonna have access to the link. She can come watch, but she will not be competing. Neither will you, which is kind of fair because let's be honest, you and Stacy have proved more than anyone else that you guys know your shit. And I'm not gonna say it'd be boring to see either of you win, but if one of you won, I think everyone else would be like, all right, I wasted my time. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
so Stacey will not be
Right.
competing. But that's
Yeah.
because she also has to keep herself in check with her title,
Mhm.
you know, business, and part of that is also seeking out the competition. This is going to be her way of seeing the competition. She has had a beastly season. I mean, she's lost once, and it was her first match ever, and since then she's
Yeah.
never lost. So, and it's kind of the opposite for you, where you've never lost and then finally just lost your most recent match. But you are both only at one loss. Like, I think you're the only competitors that have played since the beginning that only have one loss. There's a few rookies that have no losses, but it's going to be very interesting to see who ends up cashing in the title shot and when. But Stacey will not be competing for all the reasons we said.
Well, Dill, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I was gonna ask, and if so, like, what's she gonna do if she wins it all?
Yeah.
So that
It
makes a
just
lot of
made it
sense.
easier to just say, and Stacey understands. We kind of talked about it, so she's not like, oh, I wish I could play. Like, she understands. And if you had
No,
won,
yeah.
if you had won that title shot, out of fairness, Stacey and I would have hosted the match because we wouldn't have wanted you to write questions. So, and honestly,
Right.
it worked out. But we had a plan way back when if either of you won. But it's better that both of you are just sitting out for this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this little shakeup we're doing in our league. Like, I feel like anything is possible, anything can happen. We definitely have competitors that are super hungry, that might have really, sat down and studied up, who, want to get their taste at a number one contender match, at the title match. These are people like the Zach Loves in our world. Him, you love him. Zach, I mean, JD is itching to, get himself into a title match. And I always love his energy. And I feel like he's such a curveball that you never really know where the match is going to go. It's either going to be, all the questions are either going to be in his wheelhouse, or he's going to know something random that you didn't expect him to know.
Right.
Or, or the other person, or it's just not his day. And then obviously I feel like it's unfair that I have a little bit of a favorite in my mind, and that's Noah, who I, want to see succeed, I think, more than anyone, just because he's such a kind person and a good competitor that, I want to see him get far in this league.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the new blood, I love new names, people we
Yeah.
haven't seen either at all or not much of, that, can come in and shake everything up and throw everyone, off their groove a little
Yeah.
bit.
I mean, talking about the new blood, I mean, we've obviously had some that just missed out, like on their wins, like Antonio and Jacob and Hunter. But we have had
Mhm.
some rookies who came in and have really proved themselves well. I mean, Kevin Poss lost his first match, but then won his second one against Chad. Vapion started the season with the first win of his career. He's undefeated. Jay Burns is undefeated right now. You have
Mhm.
Ryan, who's undefeated. And then, of course, the big name that I think a lot of people are excited about is Jake Tato. Because Jake Tato
Yes.
didn't just win one match, he's won two matches. And he's undefeated as a rookie, sitting at 2-0. He's the only
Mhm.
2-0 player in this league now. He's the only person who's played multiple matches and won multiple matches with no losses. Everyone who's played multiple matches has at least lost one. Stacey has a loss. You have a loss. JD has 3. Noah has 2. Chris has 3. Malcolm has 2. Corey has 2. Jake is the only one who has played 2 matches that has won both those matches and no losses. So I think
Yeah.
he's the rookie to keep an eye on. Jake Tato is going to be, I think,
for
the
sure.
biggest wild card if he is in this free-for-all, or this Infinity Gauntlet, because he has also been a beast in round 1. And round 1, it's kind of a random hodgepodge of questions. You're not pigeonholed into one category. Yes, they are given categories, but it's really just 10 questions along the whole realm of the MCU, rather than round 2 or round 3, where it's like, I'm only getting actors and actresses questions for 5,
Yeah.
And there's no multiple choice, there's no repeats. So it's really going to be about who can just get the question, do it, answer it, write it, done. And I think that's exciting. And I think Jake might have an advantage here. He's the number 3 ranked player. Stacey's the champ. You're the number 1 contender. And then Jake is number 2 in the ranking behind you. So just
Wow.
looking at stats and crunching numbers, which I think is really exciting. So Jake is someone I definitely have an eye on as a potential sleeper pick, at least an MVP pick, possibly, because we're recording this before it's even happened, so we don't even know if any of these guys are in it or if not.
Right.
But of those rookies, is there anyone that you've got your eye on? The rookies that have played this year so far that you think could have a shot?
I mean, Jake Tato, obviously, like he was someone that immediately came to mind when when I was thinking about the rookies. I mean, oh man, he knows his stuff, dude, and it's
Mhm.
and like he's so composed when in each match that like he doesn't even feel shaken. Like he like he because he's just so confident in his knowledge and as he should. And I believe it was Jay who was quizzing us
Mhm.
after the match. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's a wealth of knowledge too. So I'm like, these guys are going to come in and I think absolutely crush it in this Infinity Gauntlet and possibly take that you know, take the spot at going to the title match. So
Yeah.
we could have a rookie
Yeah.
holding the belt
Well,
by the end of this.
yeah, and I was gonna say the one other name that I wanted to bring attention to is Vapion, because Vapion has been very insistent that he wants you, but he wants you as the champ. So maybe
Uh.
if Vapion wins it, is the question: does he wait to see if you get the belt to then take it off your shoulders, or does he use it to take Stacy down and then let you work your way up to him? That's where I think
Mm.
his head is at, because he's been very vocal that he wants to be the champ, but he wants to beat the best. And in his eyes, you're the best. So I think that'll be interesting to see if Vapion can make some magic happen. Because he was our first match of the year, was him and Hunter, and they both did well. Hunter too. Hunter,
Yeah.
I'll say right now, his schedule is very tough because he works night shifts for things. So we're hoping to get Hunter. If we don't get Hunter, though, he'll get a match soon. But Vapion and Hunter, that was a fun first match that made us really
Yeah.
notice, oh, these rookies are here to play.
Yeah. I mean, I'm equally flattered and terrified by that statement, Dill. Um you know, I'm happy to play whoever whenever. Like I said, thought I was going to be able to retire. It seems so silly now. Um, but hey, that would be interesting. Listen, I'm rooting for him. I hope he does well because that would definitely be an interesting dynamic down the line if he wants to either, have me
Mhm.
work my way up to him and
Right.
grovel my way back to get the belt, or if, we'll I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm
yeah,
honored.
so you've mentioned a lot of these players who have been like number one contenders, who have been in title matches. Zach has been in a title match. JD has been in a title match. Noah has been in a title match. But then you also have these players who I feel like have always gotten so close but never got it. But they are solid in the league. And I'm thinking of Brian Nussbaum, Chris Diaz, and Malcolm Lay. What are your thoughts on
Yes.
those three players? Because those three players, along with Zach and Matt, which is their own conversation, the Hellfire Club, we'll talk about them in a
Right.
sec. But those
Yeah.
three players, I feel like, are always around but have never been
Yeah.
able to really seal their fate. But they've gotten some wins. Do you think that the free-for-all format may help them, may hurt them? Because as we've seen, Chris and Brian have either been really good in round one or really bad in round one, but have also
Right.
just kept things so close all the time that in a round like the free-for-all, I think closeness is really good. And then Malcolm has been really good in round ones. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on those three?
I mean, they're all like you said kind of living in the same boat. Like they're all they're wild cards pretty much. Like you never know what they're going to be able to pull out of their, vat of knowledge back there. We've seen Chris come really close and like be beat out by like just like the 5 pointers. I mean, his match and Brian's match from like a year ago was like one of like the best matches we've ever
Yeah,
had. And
it
I
was so
think
close,
that
so back and forth.
so close. Literally came down to the 5 pointers. And I think that this format might be really helpful to them because basically it's kind of feels like a big round one, right? Because we're giving them a mixed bag of questions from all different categories, all different movies. And so I think that it could be really beneficial for them because I think that that's the round that they all thrive in is round
Mhm.
one.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see them, especially Malcolm, because I feel like Malcolm had his like number one contender, and then it kind of after Noah won that, it kind of took off, and then I think Malcolm has just been kind of waiting in the wings. He really wanted to take on Stacy because he was angry at Stacy, but then he never got to her because I think JD beat him or something, right? Like I think he had to play JD to then play Stacy, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, and JD beat Malcolm and got to play Stacy. So Malcolm still wants Stacy. He wants to kind of right those wrongs and say like, this is how the league should be. He's the biggest.
Yeah.
If Stacy's the biggest heel, the Dark Phoenix, I think he is without a doubt the biggest face. You know, he's the one that I think no one's going to be rooting against Malcolm. The question is going to be, are we going to get Malcolm from his first two matches or Malcolm from his second two matches? Malcolm in his second two matches was still good, but just not enough. Whereas Malcolm in his first two matches, he was beasting to where I was like, this guy's unstoppable. Do you think we're going to get the old Malcolm, the new Malcolm, or do you think there's a even newer Malcolm that we haven't seen yet?
I mean, Dill, like with this Infinity Gauntlet, you know, you don't really know what side's going to come out of people because the questions are going to be so vast. And there's going to be like, we're going to ask them 5-pointers right off the bat. Maybe there's going to be 3-pointers. There's going to be some layups in there. So like, it's really hard to tell. I mean, I feel like we're just going to have to wait until we get into the gauntlet itself. And like literally that first round, even the first question, I feel like is going to set the tone immediately for our competitors and for what everyone's knowledge base is. But I'm hoping we get the Malcolm from the first two matches because he was really giving like number one contender, if not champ vibes right off the bat. He was someone to watch. And I feel like he's like really like silent but deadly, Malcolm. And not, you know, he like you said, he is a face. He's a very, very nice human being. You know, he's really just here to show up, play the games, do the best he can, and not stir up too much trouble. Yeah. So you're right. No one really roots against him. And I think that could also play in his favor because, you know, he's got some good juju around him, some good vibes for sure.
Yeah, I have to ask about one other competitor as well, another vet who we haven't seen in a long time. He's played 4 matches, but this is the only person to ever beat the champ, and this is Corey Ross. Now, we have not seen Corey in quite some time.
Yeah.
But the invitation is out there for everyone. Corey is very busy with his new job now. I think last time I talked to him, he was in Japan.
Crazy.
But the invitation's out there. If Corey accepts the invitation, do you want him to accept the invitation? Obviously, the answer is yes. But, like, do you think he could accept the invitation? If he does, how do you think he'll stack up? Because he's had, like, almost a year now to think about it, having played Stacy and beat her in his first match. But then I think he lost his next one, then won one, lost one. He's 2-2. So he's, like, right where you want to be for a vet. Win half, lose half. What are your thoughts on Corey if he should be part of this free-for-all?
I mean, he does have the experience behind him, right? He's been in 4 matches. He's taken on the champ and won. It's just with Corey, I don't know 100% if the knowledge is there, right? Because obviously he's won 2, but I'm questioning if like those 2 were early on and we were trying to like, you know, be nicer in our matches and give, you know, more kind of like a basic knowledge base and kind of like really ease up like kind of how we do in our rookie matches. Like we just want to see where everyone's kind of at, so we give them a little bit easier questions. I don't know how, you know, we haven't seen him in a minute and he has been busy.
Time we saw him was in September of last year when he played Matt. He beat Matt, and then immediately right after that played Stacy, but then Stacy got her revenge and beat him. So I think that was like a really interesting day because he won and lost in the same day. So he is really, I think, one of the biggest wild cards because we haven't seen him in a year, but I know his knowledge is there. It's just a question of, has he retained it? Has he kept up with it? How much has he like been thinking about it? That's going to be the question. And is he even going to accept the invitation? Because he is very busy. And some of these players that we're talking about, I can already tell you, aren't even going to be in it. But it's still fun to theorize.
I will say, though, it would be very fun if there was some way where Corey could come out on top of all of this and take on Stacy again. That would be super interesting. And what a like full circle moment that would be if Corey was like, and now I'm back and I'm snatching the belt right from you. Oh God. God help him with the Dark
Right?
Phoenix.
The
That would
amount
not
of
go over well
storylines
with
the
for
amount of
him.
storylines I could write in my head for all these outcomes, like, rookies, it's fun because it's like, we don't know your storyline, but a lot of these, there's some blood there. I mean,
Right.
we talked
There's
about
a
the Hellfire.
history.
We gotta talk about the Hellfire Club. I mean, Zach has had some clear blood for you. Matt has had some
Yeah.
clear, love for you, but also I think he's also kind of had he almost had a shot at Stacy, but Corey prevented him from getting that shot, and I believe that's the last time we've seen him play, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken, was against Corey. So he hasn't played since September either, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's a fun element too of, is Matt gonna be playing for himself? Is he gonna be playing for Zach? Because now that they have this faction, I've heard rumblings that Matt is playing for Zach to get his title shot, and Zach is playing for himself. Is Zach even gonna make it?
Mm.
He's busy as well. Is Matt gonna make it? He's busy. There's a question: are they even gonna be part of this free for all? But if they are, I think they're gonna be lethal as well because they have a kind of combined spirit. They're playing for the larger
Wow.
group, which I think is going to be an interesting element. They're not playing together, obviously. Matt could be
Yeah.
the first one up, Zach could be the last one up, but they're still playing for the common goal, which is now this faction. We've never had factions in this league before, so we've never seen
An
anything like this.
alliance.
What are your thoughts on the Hellfire Club, and do you think that that's going to help them in this free for all or hurt them?
I mean, I personally wouldn't want to get caught up in semantics. I would just be worried about like the knowledge and the questions. So worrying about all of this behind the scenes stuff might be a disservice to them. I'm not sure. Um like I said, I root for everybody, but when it comes to their knowledge base, I feel like they've yet to prove that it's all there.
Wow.
And I'm not trying to be mean,
No,
but I'm just saying I
they've
would
had
love.
I
Go
was gonna
ahead.
say they've had some good wins. I mean, Matt's won
Yeah,
one, lost two. Zach has won two, lost three. So they both do have more losses than wins. But they've proved in their wins and even in their losses that they are
yeah,
very lethal, especially when it comes to the kind of mental aspect of it. Like Matt plays the
sure.
Matt Fisto role really well.
Yeah,
Zach obviously knows how to talk. So
yeah.
it's
Zach
gonna be
has,
very.
I feel like, talked his way into getting answers right more than anyone that I know. Like he's not afraid to throw up a challenge. But again, like, does that prove that he's just a good talker or is he a good competitor? You know what I mean?
I guess we'll find
Uh
out. Um, and the last names for vets that I want to bring up in particular are two players that have never won a match, but we love them and we really want them to win a match. And I think the free for all could be a time where you just get the right questions,
yeah.
and that's the Webs. That's Carrie and Chad. And I think, I mean, I know one of them may be busy. We're trying to get them both. But we will have web representation in the free for all. What are your thoughts on the Webs? I mean, Carrie's 0-2, Chad is 0-4, but Chad has an interesting distinction. He's the only player to never win but still knock someone out. Because he played in a triple threat match. He lost to Noah,
Right.
but he did knock out Carrie. So he's 0-4, but
Right.
with one knockout, which I think is kind of an interesting stat. And I think that proves that Chad in a triple threat match can beat one player but lose to another just because he's come so close but hasn't clinched that victory. But he is always so close. Like, I don't think there's ever been a
Yeah.
match where I've been like, Chad really sucked today. Like, no, he really is one of our best. And same with Carrie. Like, they are two of the best knowledge bases, especially
Hmm.
because they have so much other knowledge in their heads from horror and general
Right.
movie trivia. But I always get so sad when they come just short. But like, it's
Hmm.
always just short because they're so good at what they do. So
Right.
what are your thoughts on them, especially now with the kid? They have a child.
Right. I know. I was just gonna say there's a new member to the family, so of course they're gonna be busy these
Maybe
days.
Elliot will be our number one contender. Maybe
I
Elliot
would
will have
love that.
MVP.
Like taking candy from a baby, Dill. Anyway, with Chad and Carrie, I mean, like you're saying, the passion is absolutely there. Like they show up, they're in good spirits. You know, they have the knowledge there. They come so close to getting that win. I would love to see them. Bare minimum last very long in the Infinity Gauntlet. I would love to see them kind of like climb their ranks to like one of the final rounds. Whether or not one of them comes on top, I mean, obviously I'm rooting for Carrie because us girls got to stick together. No offense, Chad. But I would also just love for her to kind of get some revenge on her husband for knocking her out in that three-way match. So
It could happen.
We'll see.
And I was going to say, I'm not going to really talk about any of the new players because we don't know them. I mean, I know some of them, just like I know them, but like I don't know their challenge or their trivia knowledge and their, mental skill. But there is one rookie who is part of the Girl Power Club who we're going to meet for the first time, Maria Hammond. And I've been hearing a lot of buzz about Maria Hammond because Brian, if y'all remember, threw out her name in his last match. He said, I want Maria Hammond. And Maria, we have not been able to get a match yet, but Maria will be part of the free-for-all. I can confirm that. Sorry, I gave you all a name. There you go. That is a confirmation because I also wanted to make sure Girl Power was represented in this free-for-all. Nice. Are you excited to have another member of Girl Power? Like, you know nothing about Maria. I know nothing about Maria's trivia. I've seen her elsewhere, but I don't know how good she is in Marvel trivia. But it's going to be exciting to have another girl in the league. And Brian thinks she's a lethal competitor because he wants to go against her all the time. So thoughts on this Maria?
I'm excited to have her. There's always room at the table for more women in this league. And so I'm excited for the representation, and don't let us down, Maria. A lot's riding on this.
Yeah.
No pressure.
So that's going to be it. I mean, that's kind of all the competitors we could talk about now. Obviously, there's some rookies we haven't met yet, some rookies from earlier in the year that we just don't know enough about yet. But I'm very, very excited to see where this goes and how this goes and see who ends up coming out on top. Do you have any last predictions? I kind of want to play a game with you where
okay.
You kind of put a bet on the line. So I think we should each pick a name. I think we should each pick a name of someone we think will win the free-for-all. And if one of us is right and one of us is wrong, the winner will get to choose a punishment or a dare or something for the loser. Like, not anything crazy, but like, an embarrassing something to do on the show.
Yeah.
And if neither of us are right, then we let the audience or we let the actual free-for-all winner decide something funny or embarrassing.
Okay.
So I mean, I have a name. I think, do you want to like on 3 send it in the private chat, or like how do we want to do this? So I'm not gonna copy your answer. I have a name. So I can let you go first if you want.
I don't know because I feel like we're gonna say the same person.
Well, we'll count down to 3 and we'll say the same name if it's the same, and if not, we'll just say why. All right, ready? On the count of 3, we're gonna say the name of who we think is gonna win the free-for-all. All right, ready? Assuming all the players we've talked about are in it, because I'm going to tell you right now, not all the players we've talked about are going to be in it, but the invitation's open, so they could all end up joining at the last minute. But let's go. On the count of 3, tell me a name of who you think is going to win the free-for-all. Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Jake Tatum.
Noah.
Okay. So Kelsey thinks Noah's going to win the free-for-all. I think Jake Tatum is going to win the free-for-all. I just think his first 2 matches prove that he is just a general wealth of knowledge. And just from hearing what his other competitors have said, Kevin and Chad, like they are both like, hey, this is the real deal. So I think Jake is going to be one to look out for. And again, it's all random placement. If he gets picked early, I don't know. But if he gets picked middle to end of the free-for-all, like I don't see how you stop him, especially because he very rarely misses. And if he's at the end and very rarely misses, but someone else misses one more than him, then all it takes is for him to win. But Noah's a good pick too, Kels. Why'd you pick Noah?
Well, I felt like you were going to pick Jake. And that's also a name that was floating around my head. So I was like, okay, I'm going to shake it up. I'm going to go with the competitor that holds a special place in my heart. And that's Noah. Cool. So yeah, do we have to like come up with our little, our like bets right now or dares?
Okay. No, let's see who wins and then we'll decide. Because
okay.
I don't have anything on my brain right now. I mean, I the worst is like spicy food, but you can do that. So I will tell you, Kels, a little insider info. I did go to the Chegg a few weeks ago, and I did try the ludicrous sauce, the one where you have to sign the waiver.
Yeah. How'd that go, Dill?
It destroyed me. I literally took a knife, dipped it into the sauce. I didn't even eat a wing with the sauce. Background information, people, we will wrap this up soon, but there's a restaurant down in LBI, Long Beach Island, where they have a sauce that is like this. It was on Man vs. Food. You have to eat 15 wings in 12 minutes, or 12 wings in 15 minutes, and it's like the hottest sauce ever made. according to whatever scale that is. It's like made with a
Scoville scale?
ghost pepper reduction or whatever. And you can get it just in a little cup to try, and that's what we did. My table, and I took the knife, I dipped it in, I like licked it off, and immediately started crying. Like, not like because I was emotional, just because it just started welling
No,
up in my ears,
yeah.
in my eyes and ears, and my mouth just get puffy, and it was awful. But that can't be a punishment because I'm not ever gonna do that again. I'd rather
Okay,
be
I was
naked
thinking
in the
more of, like,
subway.
making you dress up as something, but
Great, do it.
you went spicy food, I went costume. Let's see what we land on at the
That's right.
Infinity Gauntlet.
So that is going to be the free for all next week, people. We are doing it.
I'm so
28th.
excited.
The 28th is going to be the free for all. I'm very excited to see who comes out on top. Tato and Noah are the favorites according to us, but there could be a favorite that we don't even see coming. Maybe a rookie. Could be a rookie. I'm very excited to see who wins it. And an hour before the free for all competitors, I will be posting the order. And that will be the order. There's no changing the order. And take with that what you will. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.